This is Focus, the video news magazine of Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering, with your host, Jesse Rodriguez. TTA's 7th and 8th graders are in the midst of an annual major project. First, to build these tiny houses, to wire the neighborhood, and then to wire the houses for electricity.
I'm Andrew Sean in the Pet 7 lab, and I'll take you to TTA Town.
Our 3 VEX robotics teams are on a roll with tournaments, first in Monroe, Michigan, and then the major event just down the road that can lead to the World Finals.
I'm Xavier Coleman here at Kalahari Water Park Resort in Sandusky, Ohio, and we are here to spin up.
TTA's Student Council sponsored a semi-formal dance for grades 9 through 12, complete with a buffet dinner, karaoke, games, and of course, dancing.
I'm Brendan Welly with my snow friend here, and I'll take you to the Snowball.
Now, from the campus of Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering in Toledo, Ohio, here's your host for this edition of Focus, Jesse Rodriguez.
Welcome to this edition of Focus. Students in the 7th and 8th grades had a challenge to build a tiny house and then to provide electric service. First, they had to design and engineer the project, and then they followed their plan to wire the houses. Focus reporter Andrew Sean takes you on a trip to TTA Town.
Some people are eager to tackle electrical projects around the house, and others tend to shy away from anything that involves electricity. So how would you feel about wiring an entire house? Well, a tiny house, that is. In TTA Town, these tiny houses are built by the 8th graders in Miss McElroy's Gateway to Technology. But it falls on the 7th graders in Mr. Richardson's Pet 7 lab to wire them.
In the Green Architecture unit of the Gateway to Technology course, the students are given a construction kit where they follow the blueprints to build the scale model sheds, and then we pass it off to the 7th graders for them to wire in their 7th grade course.
The actual wiring starts by erecting power poles in the neighborhood, energized with a 6-volt DC transformer. This creates the grid. Now the teams must get the power from the utility pole to the house. Each house gets wired by 3 different teams, 1 team from each of the 3 classes. 1 team will wire the right side wall, another team will wire the left wall, and the 3rd team will wire the rear wall.
This project is about energy distribution, how power gets from the grid into your house. So we've set up our model city. Each of a dozen different houses is getting connected to our interior grid lines, and the students are learning how all that comes together. So they're putting in their circuit breaker box, they're running circuits, and eventually they'll tie it up to the power poles and see if it all works.
Students must draw a schematic in their engineer's notebook to lay out their wiring plan with a detailed diagram. Each house will be wired with 2 lamps in series with a switch, a fan with a switch, a terminal strip to simulate a breaker box, and a terminal strip used to connect the house to the grid. But before any actual wiring occurs, students must make a list of all parts, materials, and tools they will need. Once they have everything ready, they start the wiring process. This can take days or a week, depending on their proficiency, and they must use all the knowledge of electricity they have learned in their classes to do the job right and follow the wiring plan.
It was very fun. The wiring is probably my favorite project all year, and how you get to work with stuff that you use in your actual house.
The wiring was difficult, twisting the wires on and building it. The schematics of the wiring wasn't that hard. It would be more so a challenge if we did it in real life on a real house with the real wires and all that, but it was more so easier on a tiny house.
For the finale, they must demonstrate that their circuit works when connected to the grid, and must also provide a picture of their project with both of the lights on. Who knows? From this unique project, there may be some future electrical engineers here. Reporting for Focus, I'm Andrew Sean.
Our 3 VEX robotics teams are competing in tournaments against some of the best teams in Ohio and in the U.S. TTA has a long-standing tradition of excelling in robotics. Focus reporter Xavier Coleman, who's also on the VEX robotics team, takes you to Kalahari and Sandusky, Ohio for Spin Up.
There are 3 TTA teams who design, build, and program robots for the VEX Robotics competition. This year's theme, Spin Up. There are 3 ways to score points: scoring in the high goal, spinning rollers, hence the name of the game, and finishing on tiles. And look who took a shot at driving our robot. He had a 100% shot ratio. Way to go!
Oh, coach, you put me on the team.
The first competition for our 3 teams was in Monroe, Michigan. And to be candid, we started off pretty rough. But that's normal for a competition that large. To compensate, we came back to TTA and totally redesigned our robots. Hey, we learned from our mistakes. With all new designs and our eye on the prize, a chance to compete in a bigger tournament at Kalahari, the teams did qualifying matches here at TTA called Skills. And the 2 winning teams were off to the global matches at the Sandusky Water Park.
Because there's a lot of teams from around the U.S., I think that they're bringing a lot of really good teams with a lot of variety of skills to the competition, so it's definitely going to be a challenge.
We spent a lot of hours at school, like after school, and like even during our lab classes, preparing, working on the robot. I even personally requested every day off of work just so I can spend 3 hours every day just adding more to the robot, making sure everything works perfectly.
There are around 170 very diverse teams here from all over the globe, vying for the top prize, a chance to go to Worlds. And our TTA teams were in the thick of it. On Friday and part of Saturday, there were qualifying matches. Then, later on Saturday, the actual tournament began. Our B team was able to choose Alliance teammates for the actual tournament.
This is Kurt Apocalypse from Toledo, Ohio. What's your choice?
11124X.
11124X. The butterfly effect. Do you accept?
We accept.
The tournament narrows down to the final 4 teams who are paired in 2 alliances, and they duke it out in a best of 3. The winners will go to Worlds in Dallas, Texas. There is no question the competition was heated, especially when you're competing against the best teams from the U.S. When it came down to the finals, one TTA team made the tournament but lost in the first round. The second team didn't make the tournament but gave it their all. Reporting for Focus in Spin Up at Kalahari Resort in Sandusky, Ohio, I'm Xavier Coleman.
The robotics teams are not the only ones doing well. Our TTA bowling teams are on a roll, every pun intended, with JV and varsity teams competing against other local high schools. One varsity teammate, who's also a Focus crew member, reached a milestone. Zach Saloff rolled a perfect 300 game. That's the dream of every bowler, and it's a major accomplishment for Zach, and a tribute to our bowling coaches. Congratulations, Zach. TTA has a very active student council, and they sponsor a myriad of events throughout the year. Recently, they organized a winter semi-formal dance that took on a snowy theme. Focus reporter Brendan Welly was on board and takes you to the Snowball.
Last year, about this time, the Student Council sponsored a homecoming dance, and the theme was the Roaring Twenties. This year, it was a semi-formal winter dance, and the theme, well, Snowball, of course. The TTA cafeteria was transformed into a winter wonderland with snowflakes everywhere. It was a dance, after all, so there was dancing, and students made requests of all their favorite songs. Plus, there was the usual group dances that everyone loves.
So far, it's been pretty fun to come out here Saturday night. It's been fun to just hang out with people from school when you usually wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, the food is also really cool. The music is really good, and I enjoyed the games.
To keep with the musical theme, it was also karaoke night, with students stepping up to the mic to, well, sing.
Oh no, the dance is great. They catered really nice barbecue food, and it's really different because there's karaoke happening, which, I mean, you don't really see that often. I've been dancing with my friends, and yeah, it's pretty good.
The dance was open to all students in grades 9 through 12, and to make the evening even more interesting, there were games to play. And what's a party without food? City Barbecue provided an awesome spread, buffet style. It's such a deal, only $10 a person or $15 for a couple. The buffet was virtually dinner, and lots of food that lasted through the evening. This was a chance for the TTA Student Council to offer something different and a fun activity on a dreary Saturday night.
And it was a pretty popular activity. We had something in the neighborhood of 75 students come to that. We had really good food, a lot of dancing. We had a karaoke contest. So the kids really seemed to enjoy it. The students did a really nice job of pitching in and setting up, and I think a lot of people had a lot of fun with it.
It was a party atmosphere, and clearly everyone had a great time. Students got to dress up a little, socialize, dance, sing, and be among their friends. Reporting at the Snowball Dance, I'm Brendan Welly.
In early February, all grades 7 through 12 went on field trips to our various TTA business and professional partners. It was a chance for them to get a first-hand look at manufacturing technology and engineering. Each grade went to a different location. When they returned, they gathered in the gym for a dodgeball tournament. Students chose their teammates and competed against 15 organized teams. Then, it came down to the final match, the Duckies versus the 5-6. Not to brag, but my team won the tournament. The highlight of the afternoon was a very special and messy event sponsored by the Smarts teams. Students bought tickets and put them in a jar. Then there was a drawing and 5 lucky winners got a chance to throw a cream pie in a teacher's face. 2 faculty members faced off against each other, got in the mix, and took a cream pie in the face. All proceeds went to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and we raised over $400 for the charity. Well, that's all for this edition of Focus. We have more stories in the months ahead to share with you, so stay tuned. If you have any story suggestions or comments, please email us at focus@toledotechnologyacademy.org. Focus is a production of the TTA video production classes. On behalf of the entire Focus News team, and until next time, I'm Jesse Rodriguez. Thanks for watching.